Alright, so we're going to have a bread extravaganza. I'm just going to show you how I'm preparing my favorite bread thus far. I'm sure I will find plenty of breads out there that I really do like that have wheat in them. Maybe I'll even find a replacement that's whole wheat that I'll really like. Shortening, butter flavored shortening. If you don't have butter flavored shortening, well, I'm not really gonna mess around with you on that one. Get butter flavored shortening in your storage. It adds to the flavor. You do need regular shortening, and if you just prefer to store it all regular shortening and not butter shortening, because places like Costco and Sam's Club only sell regular shortening in the big old bulk that's less expensive, that's fine. But if you do see a sale on the butter flavored shortening, I just stock up. Okay, pour that in carefully. Okay, half a cup of sugar, and 1/4 of a cup of potato flakes. Any bread that calls for potato flakes, I think they're good. Okay, and yes, I am telling you to put an entire tablespoon of salt into this recipe. And at this point, make sure you have your yeast already in the half a cup of warm water, and stir it in a little bit so that it can be rising while you're getting all of this ready. Alright, so I've got a cup and a half of cold water plus 2 eggs reconstituted in this. And then we're going to add our hot stove items, both of them together, so that they're cool enough by the time I pour in the yeast, so it's not burning, or it's not killing the yeast. It's not so hot that it's killing the yeast. And then we'll pour our yeast in. Now, I am not sure how much I like Vital Wheat gluten. Every time I cook with it, it makes the recipe taste really bitter. So I'm going to try this time around not putting wheat gluten in it, and see if it's the wheat that tastes bitter, or if it's that Vital Wheat gluten that's making the whole loaf of bread or rolls taste kind of I am still going to put the dough enhancer in, because that has a sweet taste to it, so I have no problem with that one. Alright, so it's 2 tablespoons of dough enhancer for every 4 cups of flour. Alright, so for this part, you are going to want to remove rings, and most likely your watch. We're going to be adding 5 full cups of flour still. If you don't have a stand mixer or a hand mixer that you're going to be using, just have fun. That's a lot of mixing to do by hand. It's doable, and I'm doing. Woohoo! Look at that. Happy dough spreading all over the counter. So now we're going to get our fingers all gooed. We've already put in our wheat flour, so now we're putting in the white. And look how much fun we are having. I love the bread at this stage when it's just so gooey and squishy and blobby, and anyway, I can just taste from the dough if the bread's going to be okay, if it's going to be good, and this dough is going to be good. Plus we got half wheat, so we're using some of our good practices for food storage, using up our wheat for food storage. Okay, so we got the dough. I've let it rise. I punched it down, let it rise again, and this is my second punching it down, punching it down, punching it down. I'm going to make crescent rolls out of one, a loaf of bread out of the other, and breadsticks out of the third, so that you can have it on video. You can see how I'm doing this. And great cooks out there, you'll know how to do it, but those of you who are amateurs, yeah, you can watch and get some tips of what to do and what not to do, and etc., etc., etc. Alright, so my loaves of bread are never gorgeous, but they taste good. So I'm going to pinch the bottom all together, and just kind of spread that top out. Bloop, bloop, in a greased pan. I've been using bigger pans for my loaves of bread. You can kind of squish that down in there if you want, if you so desire. Just don't make any wrinkles, otherwise it, yeah, will form kind of funny. But anyway, yeah, I'm just using a small one because I want more rolls today than not. So, second, I'm going to set this one aside, back in the pan. Okay. Pound out any bubbles that might be in there. Okay, this one's going to be crescent rolls. Okay, we need it round. Bloop. Sorry, I'm kind of flipping it. It's hard to see. Okay, so then I'm going to use the pizza wheel, the only one that we've got here. I know, a bigger pizza will be nicer, but that's life. Okay. Just cutting it into, how many would that be? Sorry, I'm cutting, not counting. And we're just going to roll them really loosely because as they start to rise, the center won't get risen as much, and we want it to be all risen. Now another trick to these, if you want them more like the long store ones, is to actually do a smaller, instead of having, like for instance, instead of cutting right here, you would just roll these two all the way down into one. And if you get that image, that would be like a really big one. So you can do that if you want. Now these bread cloths, you wonder why are they important? I know mine's shredded and that's fine. Why are they important? Because they're a really light material. So instead of just putting a dish towel over it, which if that's all you've got, that's great. But if you don't, if you can get some of the dishcloths or the bread cloths, they're a lot lighter, and as the dough is rising, it's not mashing down the dough and keeping it from rising. So there you go. Last, we have got breadsticks. We're gonna make garlic breadsticks and Parmesan cheese breadsticks. I'm just going to take a spoon, sprinkle over some of the butter powder. How happy that is. Okay, we're just going to go along with the pizza cutter. Just cut these into slices, like so. Okay, now we've got garlic bread and Parmesan cheese. I'll have to get a different tray. Voila!